The report reveals the names of 74 military and security force commanders in Syria that it says had given out orders to the security forces to use deadly force against Syrian opposition demonstrators. And this report directly challenges assertions made once again by the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in an interview just last week when he said his government does not kill its own citizens. Take a listen.
We don't kill our people. Nobody kill, no government in the world kill its people unless it's led by a crazy person. For me as president, I became president because of the public support. It's impossible for anyone in this state to give order to kill.
Do you feel guilty?
I did my best to protect the people, so you cannot feel guilty when you do your best.
Now, how did this New York-based human rights organization, Human Rights Watch, come up with these conclusions? It interviewed, it says, at least 63 former members of the Syrian army and the Syrian intelligence services. And these individuals all gave evidence as well as the names of their commanders and said they were witnesses to atrocities carried out against Syrian citizens. Take a listen to one of these defectors, and of course their identities are not being revealed. Take a listen, Rosemary.
Two snipers was commanders of me. They say before they go to the roof of the building, they just say, let us go for hunting. When protesters go to streets, they go to the roof of the building, a high building, and use AK-47 or a sniper rifle to shoot on the protesters on the street.
Rosemary, these individuals describing again and again cases where snipers were used against demonstrators, where they were ordered to open fire on unarmed demonstrators, where there were intelligence officers behind the troops that were there to enforce, to make sure that these orders were carried out. And many of the soldiers saying that they had to open fire on demonstrators on threat of death. Some of them even saying that they witnessed some soldiers being killed when they did not carry orders to shoot at unarmed Syrian civilian demonstrators. And many of the conclusions here, they correspond, Rosemary, with interviews that myself and many other CNN teams have already conducted with Syrian defectors coming out of that country. We talked to one conscript sniper last summer here in Istanbul who had fled across the border, and he said many of the things that we're already hearing in this much more voluminous research report that's been conducted by Human Rights Watch. Take a listen to what that sniper had to say last summer.
There were protests and chanting. Suddenly our officer gave us the order to shoot at the people. It didn't matter how many would be killed. The important thing was for the protest to be dispersed, and we started shooting.
Now, Rosemary, Human Rights Watch also points out that in many of these cases it has evidence that medical aid was denied to wounded victims of this crackdown, and it's issued a number of recommendations. It wants the Syrian regime and these commanders to be submitted before the International Criminal Court. It also wants a full, complete ban of weapons sales to Syria. And very worth noting is that it is publishing this report this very hour in Moscow, the capital of Russia. Why? Because Russia blocked, it vetoed a proposed Security Council resolution against Syria. Russia and Syria are close allies. Russia sells a lot of weapons to Syria. And Human Rights Watch clearly wants to put pressure on Russia to distance itself from a regime that Human Rights Watch is accusing of committing crimes against humanity. And it's worth noting that the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has also directly made that accusation against the Syrian regime after nearly 5,000 people have been killed in the cycle of violence that has taken place since the protests against the government first erupted, peacefully I might add, last March.